Expectations. Expectations are formed almost naturally, and in the world of sports, after you've made your case that you're able to maintain excellence and are deserving of being in the upper echelon of players in your sport, it is then your job to continue that success when games matter, to give your team a better chance of competing for a championship. Because being the best player on a championship team indicates that those expectations that are set on you as a superstar are indeed worthy. And although it's obvious that you aren't going to win a championship every single year, or even ever make a deep push for a championship in your career, it is your responsibility as a player with aspirations of being an all-time great to perform at your best come postseason. If it isn't obvious by now, I am addressing the huge disappointment of the Portland Trail Blazers, especially when it comes to Damian Lillard. What's good, y'all? It's your boy TSM, and I will basically be recapping the Blazers and Pelicans series, and will be shedding light on Damian Lillard for his poor performance. Now I'm going to give the Pelicans credit here for executing their game plan to perfection and for being the first team in the postseason to be finished with their playoff series, especially without their second All-Star DeMarcus Cousins, which you can argue with the way they're executing without him, the team has peaked without him in the lineup. Anthony Davis and Jrue Holiday are putting on extraordinary performances in the postseason. Playoff Rondo was huge for them, and Nikola Mirotic at the 4 really allowed the Pelicans to successfully run their 4-out-1-in look offensively and made them able to push the pace on offense as well. Anthony Davis was putting up monster numbers in this series, averaging 33 points and 12 rebounds, along with 3 blocks a game as well. And yo, let me just say, AD at the 5 is a scary sight for the league in the future. There is no big in today's NBA that can match AD's size and agility, and when he rim runs to the basket off a quick 1-2 pass from his guards, it's almost 2 easy ones for the brow. He is so versatile as an offensive threat in the league, and he showcased dominance throughout this entire series. And though we expected AD to be a monster in this series and we weren't going to tolerate any less from him, we didn't expect guys like Jrue Holiday, Rajon Rondo, and Nikola Mirotic to have the kind of performances they had throughout the entire series. And let's talk about Jrue Holiday, because a lot of fans get lost in the numbers game without actually looking at the game and tendencies that are happening in it. So a guy like Jrue Holiday gets no attention by the media because he's not out there making highlights, or he's not out there making a brand for himself. Yet nobody was given the underrated nod. Yet a guy like Damian Lillard, who is already a bona fide star in the league, has all his fans crying about him being underrated because nobody sees him as a superstar, which, to be honest with y'all, he is not. Dame gets compared to Steph Curry, and everyone is trying to make the case that the Warriors are the exact same threat if you swap Dame and Steph Curry, and that Steph, a 2-time MVP, can't do what Damian Lillard has done for the Portland Trail Blazers over the years. Yet Holiday gets slandered for being overpaid by the franchise and is viewed in that light only instead of being viewed as a talented guard in the league, and he's put the world on notice by absolutely embarrassing Damian Lillard in this sweep. He averaged 28, 6, and 4 a game, took the task of completely shutting down Damian Lillard, and shot 57% from the field, and exceeded expectations that were placed on him. And what's crazy is, I thought Jrue was going to have a decent performance, like a 20-point playoff performance, because I knew the Portland Trail Blazers backcourt stinks on defense, but I did not see him absolutely mollywop in the backcourt, and he deserves praise for that performance. Because any other guard, such as Wall, Laurie, Dame, CP3, if anyone else does what he did, we would be holding him with the highest praise and putting him in arguments for being an upper echelon of guards. So Holiday does indeed deserve that same exact treatment. And shouts out to Rondo with the 13 assists a game, being a complete wizard with the ball and orchestrating the offense. Clark, Miller, and Moore did their job as rotation players, and Mirotic shot 46% from 3, which is beyond phenomenal. And huge props to Alvin Gentry for the game plan of making everybody but Damian Lillard beat them in this series, and also for the fast-paced offense, which was dope to watch. And for the Portland Trail Blazers, I guess at the end of the day, they were simply outmatched from top to bottom. I don't think that everything goes entirely on Dame. If you're Nurkic, you have to be way more aggressive, and you gotta be way better at finishing on the rim. If you're shooting 46, 47% from the field, and you're taking most of your shots from within the mid-range, then you just gotta do better, my guy. CJ, you gotta be able to offer something on the defensive end, because you were just a part of Holiday and Rondo's mixtape in this series. Aminu did well, actually, for what it's worth, and Evan Turner. Yeah, we need to get Evan Turner a ticket to join the Shanghai Sharks and give the Blazers their money back immediately. The backup guards were disappointing on both ends of the court for Blazers, and Terry Scott just had no answer for anybody in this series. But if we're going to look at the positives in a 4-0 sweep, the two guys who I thought had a good enough performance were Aminu and CJ. Aminu averaged 17 and 9, and when the Pelicans basically dared Aminu to beat them, he played up to par. And for CJ McCollum, really stepped up on offensive end, giving the team around 23 points a game. Shot efficiently for a couple of games in the series as well, especially that Game 4. Game 4 he went crazy, so shout out to him as well.
Dame, you made the All-Star game this year. Second half of the season, you've been on a tear playing like an MVP. You feel that you should be on the All-NBA team?
Yeah, I think I should be first team All-NBA. I think with our team success, you know, how tough a year it's been in the Western Conference, I think I improve every year, and I've improved more this season than I have in any other season, not just as far as stats, but just the impact on the game. You know, I think I've played at that level, so I feel like I'm deserving of it, but, you know, we'll see. I mean, I respect Russ a lot. You know, so it was kind of disappointing to see him say that, because he's played against me. He's played against our team. He knows what I've accomplished, not just this year, but over my career. So it was a little bit disappointing. But I know that I earned my spot this year, and that's pretty much what it is.
But this goes back to the whole expectation thing and why the focus needs to be on Damian Lillard. Because to be honest with y'all, I wasn't really a believer throughout his entire career. I always thought that he needed to add another element to his game aside from scoring. And I thought that he was making strides in this season as a playmaker and was no longer being a liability defensively. And me witnessing what I thought was growth and maturity on Dame's end, along with him dedicating this entire season on being this guy who's underappreciated in NBA, being the guy who's been crying about being snubbed from All-Star games, and making bold statements like saying that he should be a first-team All-NBA guard this year. It was his time to back up these bold claims and for him to make everyone believe in Dame time. And I saw that in him this season. This season, Dame was making MVP type cases for himself this year, and it was time in the postseason to go out and perform well, win or lose. And in my expectation of what Dame was going to do in this series, he disappointed me. He's now one of the more inefficient volume scorers in playoff history, lower than guys like Harden, Iverson, DeRozan, etc. And this, along with his entire playoff run since Game 6, is going to be a huge stain on his all-time career. Coming from what I thought was going to be his best season as a pro, and to put up 4 straight terrible performances and get swept as a 3rd seed, to go out there as a leader of that team, and to go out looking sad like that, I'm not sure we can look Dame the same way. And if this disappointing end to the season is any indication of anything, is that maybe we haven't been underrating Damian Lillard this entire time. A player who's an electrifying scorer in this league, but doesn't have anything else to offer when the game slows down and defenses start making him uncomfortable, and he's practically a liability on the defensive end. And moving forward, while he's in his prime, it's a legit concern of mine whether this stagnant slump for the Portland Trail Blazers will always be because of Dame's shortcomings as a basketball player. I understand that CJ could be moved for a 3-and-D wing or a 2-guard, and I understand that maybe they can get a few veterans on good contracts, but with the disastrous 2016 offseason they basically handcuffed throughout Dame's entire prime, which would make it hard for the Blazers to come up with a roster in which Dame doesn't have to be the best player on the team, or at least 1A, 1B with another talented perimeter player. And that's okay, but like I said, maybe we haven't been underrating Dame Lillard this entire time. Maybe, just maybe, Dame Lillard isn't the superstar he aspires to be.
Throughout your whole career, you've seen double teams, and you've seen traps. What makes this one so effective? I don't know if you've ever seen me like this.
I mean, see me like what?
Just been taken out of the game.
I mean, I've seen traps. 2 years ago in the playoffs, the Clippers trapped me pretty hard. But usually when you see a trap or people blitz a pick and roll, they fall out of it. They don't stay. For example, it was times where I could come off, and once the guard caught up, the big would leave. And this is probably the first time where the big is just staying, and then the other guys coming, and they're making me give the ball up. And like I said last game, it's the right play is to give it up and find the open guy. And like you said, to not allow them to completely take me out the game. It's either make that play every time or you got to take a tough one. And I think that's a position that they put me in. So it is what it is. I think this is a different coverage than I've seen any point in my career, and of course it'll be in the playoffs because they don't have any other team to worry about right now, so they can come with it. And it's 2 and 3 layers of defense, so it's tough to play against, man. It's a challenge.
Oh, and before I leave, there will be a compilation of the defense that was being played on Damian Lillard. Stop caping out to the trap excuse because Dame said it on TV. The Pelicans just knew that anyone other than CJ setting the screen were people that they would want them to be in a basketball game. So they threw blitz looks, ice looks, hard hedges, soft edges, in which 80s athleticism allowed them to get on people like Nurkic quickly. But please spare me the whole trap and double team arguments. Every other elite point guard, and I mean every other elite point guard in the NBA, sees the same exact looks on a night-to-night basis against competitive teams. Oladipo right now is getting trapped on offense by the Cavs, especially off the pick and roll, because they, unlike the Pelicans, are actually neglecting an entire basketball player to bring 2 guys to commit to guarding the Depot. The compilation will speak for itself. It's your boy TSM, and not for day, y'all. Subscribe if you're new. Peace.
Play by Chief on both ends. Blazers with the attack going to Damian. Jump pass inside. Stolen away by Rondo.
Up the way through it. Got to take care of the basketball, though. You don't want to do anything to feed this crowd anymore.
Lillard sees the ball go through the cylinder. That's got to be a huge relief as he knocks down his first 2 shots.
So somebody else setting him up. Coming up. Did you see how much space Mirotic had right throughout most of the matchup that's guarding Davis?
Working in is Lillard. Double team. Aminu was stepping out for 3. Back there, long board again, grabbed by the Blazers. Reload for Damian. A long pass is out of Collins. Mo Harkless. Here's Lillard a 3. In and out. You can see Collins shed Mirotic. Into the lane comes Dame with a hard left hand. Puts it in the right. The floater is off. And a foul.
Miscommunication. Do you just switch it? Do you show and get over it? You got to shorten that up.
Lillard into the lane.
Nurk runs to protect the rim, but his man on that specific play happened to be Ian Clark.
Dame double team. The pass to Nurk is underthrown.
Underneath that screen, he didn't need any help and allowed his teammate to stay attached to Davis.
Check that out. Davis steps out on Damian. Times here in the first half. 17 Pelican points off turnovers. Damian a 3. Tipped, controlled by Nurkic has come alive here in the last minute and a half. He grabs a defensive rebound. Holiday picks the pocket into the lane to the glass to 2.
The most recent turnover, the Pelicans on a 4-0 run.
Dame off the screen, sees Davis again. Offense, but the Blazers haven't been able to make him pay for it yet. Here's Dame the other way. That ball deflects off again.
And Kev, the Blazers have been able to make him pay.
He's at the hash mark. Over comes to Damian in the corner. Working on Holiday. Nurk comes over to help, but Holiday jams that action. Comes away with a rip up the floor. 20 for CJ tonight. Dame working. A 4 of 11 shooting with 15. Here's another deep 3.